welcome to VistaTalks, interesting discussions with interesting people from all around the world. I'm your host for today, Priscillia Charles, and I'm joined today by a very special guest in Studio 2, Simon Hodgkins. Simon is the founder of the Think Global Forum. You're very welcome, Simon.
It's good to be back, Priscillia.
We're delighted to have you again on the show. Simon was previously on the show, but he's here with us today for a very special episode, and he'll be answering all of your questions about how to enter the Think Global Awards 4th edition. So let's move on, Simon. Get onto the show. So first, could you give us a bit of an insight on about the program itself and the Think Global Forum for those who wouldn't be familiar with the community and about the program itself?
Sure, no problem. I mean, for people that aren't familiar with it, the Think Global Forum has been going now for quite a number of years. It started off in the USA, ended up in Europe and the USA. It is a global thought leadership program. We have been running events in lots of places, from Los Angeles to New York to San Diego to London to Dublin to Amsterdam, which was the last one that we did. Obviously, given the current situation with the global pandemic, we are doing most things online now, as a lot of organizations are. But the Think Global Forum is alive and well. We have some tremendous forum executives who champion both geographies and industry sectors around the world. We have guest speakers, and we, of course, have the Think Global Awards, which is now in its 4th year.
Thank you so much, Simon, for this little introduction for those of you who wouldn't be familiar with the Think Global Forum community and the Think Global Awards that Simon just mentioned. So now, yes, I'd like to kind of dig in and ask you a few more questions. So for those of you who'd be interested in applying to the program, there's a few rules maybe to know, and just a few questions you might ask yourself about, how to enter, deadlines, everything. So Simon, first of all, could you tell us a little bit about how to enter the program in itself?
Well, entering the awards this year is pretty simple. You just simply go to thinkglobalforum.org/awards. There's actually 3 dedicated pages of information there for people to go to. There's actually a page about the Think Global Awards. There's an awards criteria page where you can see a little breakdown synopsis of each of the criteria for each of the award categories. And then there's a page just dedicated to entering the awards, but you can actually enter the awards on each one of the pages. So, if you need a quick URL, thinkglobalforum.org, go there and you can't miss the awards. There's an awards section and you just hit the enter awards button and you can enter away. Sounds
great. Thank you so much. So now, I think some people might ask themselves, can I enter the award? Am I a large enough organization, or if I'm a startup, I'm just starting, it's a first year in business. Can anyone enter the award, and who can enter the award really?
No, it is a good question. When we started the awards 4 years ago now, this is the 4th time we'll be doing the awards, I should say. We had a lot of those questions. People were saying, well, can I enter myself? Do I have to nominate somebody? And the answer to that first question is, well, both. We have people who enter a specific award category for themselves, and they fill in the relevant information and submit an entry on behalf of themselves. We do also have people who nominate other people. Now, that may be friends or colleagues, and they decide that they want to put somebody forward and nominate them for a particular awards criteria. I think what's important to mention at this stage, though, Priscilla, is the awards are open to individuals, as I've mentioned, companies, but also it's open to communities and organizations maybe outside of the traditional corporate space too. Yes, we have global multinational companies applying for it in the same manner that we have startups applying for it. We've even got a dedicated startup category. So whether you're a very large international organization or whether you're a startup looking to go global and think global, there's a category there for you. But, sometimes we get applications on behalf of an organization or a team, and sometimes we get people nominating other people. And, a lot of the times people actually enter themselves for a particular category.
Absolutely, yes. And encourage everyone to enter. We're delighted to see new organizations and individuals applying every year, so please do so. And so you mentioned nominating anyone for a category, and I want to talk about the categories now.
Okay.
Every year we have in average about 10 to 15 categories. Last year was 16. This year is 14, I believe. So can you give us a bit of an insight on the categories? Is there any change this year, for instance?
Yeah, that's another good question. So each year we have some categories that return each year, and they're kind of like the traditional categories that we have. But we also take into account feedback. We take into account changes in the industry, and sometimes we add a new category. So this year we have sort of the traditional categories that have been around since day one, which is sort of brand of the year. So that's a big category for people that want to submit an entry to be nominated as the winner for the brand of the year. We also have the language industry person of the year, and that's been around since the very first Think Global Awards. And they're two categories that are extremely popular. We have digital transformation, which is relatively new because I think as we've all found ourselves now in an online environment with lots of video conferencing meetings, probably less face-to-face engagements for obvious reasons, digital transformation, the whole concept of digital first companies and online communications it's right at the forefront of everybody's mind. So it kind of makes sense that for this year, we have a digital transformation category. That's proving to be a very popular category. People are really eager to showcase their own digital transformation journeys. We've always had a community stroke non-profit award category. In the past, we've had some very large, well-known non-profit organizations win it, some global NGOs, for example. But we also have smaller communities, people at a grassroots level who are doing something that's a positive for a local community or cause that doesn't have to be on an NGO sort of grand scale. And we welcome both the small, medium and large submissions for that particular award category. That's a particularly interesting one to see all the fantastic things that are taking place around the world. That brings me on to retail and e-commerce, which is a returning category. Retail and e-commerce, I suppose, is very much a hot topic at the moment. Retail has been through a tremendous change in recent years, and even more so now. And e-commerce, of course, is playing such an important and critical role for lots of retailers. So whether you're an online retailer or you're a more traditional bricks and mortar retailer, whether you're a born on the internet company or whether you're a pre-internet company originally that's then found themselves in this new e-commerce environment, that's a category that's very popular too. We have education and e-learning. E-learning, of course, is going through something of a resurgence, although it's a relatively new thing that people are learning online. But we've seen that explode in recent times. So, of course, education is we believe is fundamentally important at the Think Global Forum, as is e-learning. So that's quite a number of categories there, Priscillia, but there's a few more if you'd like to hear about them.
Thank you so much, Simon. Yes, I believe sustainability is one of the new categories that we announced this year as well, and which is obviously such an important topic.
Well, yeah, sustainability, it's the first time we've had a sustainability category. So the award category is brand new, but we're recognizing, again, individuals and organizations who contribute to a more sustainable society. Now, that could be in their local environment or it can be across the world. And I know the judges are looking for innovation here, so ways in which people are helping to develop sustainability programs and plans and actions that ultimately are protecting the wider environment. So that's an important category. I know it's again being received very well is probably the best way I would say it. So that's actually quite a busy category. And delighted to see that it is. We also have other categories that are just as critical. So, I mean, that I'm reminded to mention things like the life sciences category, which is a returning category again. But life sciences, particularly now in terms of healthcare, medicines, medical devices, pharmaceutical, that whole world of life sciences, everything from, sequencing machines to, dare I say it, vaccines, but that whole world of life sciences is pretty much center stage globally now. So of course, life sciences remains as a category that we have each year, along with professional services, startup, as I mentioned earlier, critical to driving growth in lots of economies. So the startup is something that's very close to us. We have travel, we have technologies, and of course we have the existing going global category for companies that are really looking to expand internationally. So I think the only one I've missed is media and advertising, and that's a returning category as well. But there are 14 categories in total. I don't think I've missed any, but they are quite diverse. They're open, as I say, to individuals and organizations and community groups around the world. I'm really encouraged at the fact that we do genuinely get lots of applications from all four corners of the planet. We have applications coming in from lots and lots of countries around the world. It has been truly unique to see how this Think Global Awards has caught on, how enthusiastic people are. We see some people applying each year. We see some people who have won before becoming possibly judges in a future year. And I think when we continue the consistency of some of the categories that really strike a chord with people, but we do like to add in new categories that are really relevant that year. And I hope people agree that we've tried to do that again this year.
Thank you so much, Simon. Very helpful. And we're talking about the application. So let's say I would like to apply myself, and I have a few questions. So I know that there's an entry pack that we'll mention in a few minutes. But how long should my submission be, for instance? Should I include any supporting materials when I log in and I'm on the platform to apply?
Yeah, well, yes and no. I mean, we encourage people to keep their entries to about 700 words. Now, it can be slightly larger or slightly smaller, but we think a good synopsis of why you're entering the category, why you feel it's important that you be considered as a winner of that particular Think Global award. And of course, you need to showcase your evidence for that as to why you're either putting yourself forward, you're putting your organization forward, or you're nominating somebody for that particular award. You can upload attachments, and a lot of people do. So they either do two things, Priscillia. They either upload attachments, which you do once you enter the awards. You go into the awards portal. You can put in your award entry. You follow the on screen. It's pretty simple to do. You can upload various documents, etc., that help you to convey why you feel you're a winner for that category. Also, people put in links to their websites and to supporting documentation and information. I suppose that has changed in the fourth year, because in the very first year that we did it, it was quite manual behind the scenes, but now we have software that does it all, etc. So it's I was going to say it's easier from a management perspective, but there's still a lot of work actually behind the scenes of an awards program, as anybody who's been involved in one will know. But no, you know, around 700 words is probably the sweet spot, because we feel that you can sort of capture the essence of why you're applying. Plus, you've got the ability to upload documentation and to share URL links. And I think between those three avenues that are open to you as you submit an entry on the entry software, it's very simple to do. If people have entered awards programs before online, it should be very familiar. And of course, if anybody needs any help with anything, they've only got to get in touch with us at the website.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. And it'll be very helpful to the panel of judges, of course, who'll be reviewing the applications that we'll discuss in a few minutes. I'd like just to come back on the submissions. Are there any costs to enter?
That's a really good question. And I still get asked that a lot. And no, there isn't. There's no cost to entering the awards. There never has been. And that's, you know, the awards are completely free to enter. And sometimes people find that a little bit hard to believe, but it's true. We've never asked for an entry fee for people to enter. And they are completely 100% free to enter to people around the world. There is no cost. Obviously, there's your time and energy that you've got to put your submission together. That goes without saying, but there is no cost. We typically, sorry, go ahead, Priscillia.
I know, for a good cause.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say we also have awards ceremonies every year. So we've typically held 2 awards ceremonies, one in Europe and one in the USA. And on those days, which we try to time to be the same day, it hasn't always worked out that way over the last 3 awards ceremonies, but they're actually physical events, they're tables, they're seated events, etc. And the MC will read out the winners, etc. People collect their awards, and they're a fantastic thing to be involved in. And there's no charge for people to attend that either. Obviously, we can't have everybody coming because there's only so much space. I suppose that's the only sort of bittersweet that the last Think Global Awards winners, which were announced very early this year for last year, we had to do it all online because of what happened globally. So it was a shame that we all didn't meet in person. But I suppose that's the way things are at the moment. But no, to answer your question, there are no costs to enter the awards. They're free to enter.
Okay, well, thank you very much for clarifying this. And since you're so mentioning the ceremonies, so I want to discuss key dates and the process. And so can you maybe tell us a little bit about the key dates to remember, to keep in mind? So we're going at the moment the applications are anyone can apply since September the 1st. So what are the next key dates that we would have to keep in mind?
Well, the big key date is that the awards close for entry at the end of November. So people think that sounds like a long way away, but it isn't. So please, if you're listening to this or watching this somewhere and you haven't yet entered and it's before the 30th of November, you really need to get your application in. So that's the next really important date. We have lots of people who've entered already. A lot of people like to enter early. As I said, it's a relatively simple process to enter. But yeah, the end of November is the next key date. And then, of course, the judges take over from then. The judging panel will get involved during the months of December and January. We typically then announce the shortlisted applicants, so whether they're individuals or companies. We actually we put out the press releases, it goes up on the website. We publish the shortlisted award entries, and then in early spring we will actually be announcing the winners of the latest Think Global Awards. So it's an exciting time. I would love to think we can do it in person. However, I wouldn't want to guarantee that right now. It's looking like an online ceremony again for the winners of these awards. But the technology has improved tremendously, and we can do a pretty good awards ceremony online now. I know it's not quite the same, but either way, it'll be a good awards announcement to announce all the winners.
So we mentioned the panel of judges who are reviewing the applications, and I understand 4 new judges have been announced. It's very exciting. So we have 10 in total, I believe. Can you tell us a little bit more about this panel of judges, please?
I'd love to share some information actually about that, because I still get asked questions about that occasionally. And it's really important to note that the Think Global Awards has a new judging panel every year. They're independent judges. They use the award software. There's a matrix for scoring each of the award entries, and then the software does its magic and adds up who are the shortlisted candidates and who are the winners. We like to have brand new judges every year because we think it helps to remain very unbiased, remain independent from a judging perspective, which of course is critical. And we rely on the judges, really. They put a lot of time and effort in behind the scenes to read, review, look at links, look at uploaded attachments, evaluate and score the individual submissions that come through for the Think Global Awards. This year, you're right, we've announced some additional people, but every year we've had tremendous judges, and they've all been publicly their names and who they are and their backgrounds have been shared on the website, as we do again this year. So this year, for example, we have Nicole from Snap. Everybody will know Snap Inc. or Snapchat. We have Lucio, he's from Amnesty International. We have Christy Podner, who's an author and a consultant. We have a gentleman called Tim from Locale Solutions. We have Swati, who's with the Inca Group. People would know, may not be familiar with the Inca Group, but IKEA people, I'm sure, would be familiar with. We've Lassane from Salesforce. We've Siobhan from Vistatec. and we've got Alex from Farfetch. So a lot of people may know some of those brands or know some of those people, but they're all on the website if you want to check them out. We've also been joined by Puneet from Deloitte. So Puneet is one of the judges, and Sinead from an organization called Literature Island. So everything from Amnesty to Snap to Deloitte, Salesforce, etc. They're all judges this year, and they're all different to the previous years. So I'm really thankful for the judges' dedication, interest in supporting the Think Global Awards, and that's been the case on the previous 3 years. We've had tremendous support from our judges, and I can't thank them enough. It's wonderful that they're involved in it, and I know that they are very interested to get started on the judging, but of course they won't take over the process until the closing date in November.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. Yes, we're delighted to have a new panel of judges, and we're really thankful to everyone who's helped us in the past. So, so we're talking about, we mentioned the ceremonies next year, who are likely to be online again, hosted. What does the rest of 2020 and 2021 look for the Think Global Forum and the community? And
well, I suppose the Think Global Forum is a slightly wider discussion. The Think Global Forum continues as well as the Think Global Awards. So obviously the Think Global Awards, it's the awards program. It has a set timeline that it runs. It's typically this time each year where it's open for entry. We keep the entries open for the 3-month period. We collect a lot of entries for the awards. And that's partly the reason why we have to have 10 judges, so they can actually get through the volume of submissions. So there's a lot of work that goes on after the awards. And again, as you mentioned, we'll look forward to the awards announcements, the shortlist and the winners early next year. For the Think Global Forum, however, that's a little different. So we have moved the Think Global Forum events all online. We've had to do that, and we've been surprised at how well they have worked. I suppose because they are a close bunch of people. They're either broken down by industry sector or sometimes by geographies. We have recently, well, let me take a step back, Priscillia. The last in-person face-to-face event that we hosted was actually back in January, and that was in Amsterdam. So that was the usual, really nice venue, catering, boardroom discussions, guest speakers on stage, that kind of activity, which we really like doing. Since then, we've had to host Think Global Forum activity online, and we have had both the online events with the Think Global Forum, where we've had guest speakers talking about various topics. We have also had Think Global Forum boardroom sessions, where, for those that are maybe not familiar with the Think Global Forum, we have dedicated forum executives for various industry types or areas around the world, where they come together around like a boardroom setting. And we're now doing that in a virtual environment, where they discuss really important topics for their particular industry expertise. And those are proving very, very well. Of course, we're using a lot of the video tools that I'm sure most people are familiar with at this point, but they're proving to be very well received. We made quite a seamless transition to online, but I think we were greatly helped by the forum executives who are very familiar with the concept. We've just done a Think Global Forum technology boardroom session, which only took place very recently, and the next one that we're doing is a technology Think Global Forum event for the USA. So that's next up on the radar, followed by a Think Global Forum retail and e-commerce, and we've got a number of others that we're working on. So I suppose that's different to the awards, because those activities continue. The awards are sort of like a standalone activity and event. So that maybe give you a little bit of insight into where we're at. So we're probably busier than ever when it comes to the Think Global Forum and the engagement that we're getting. Yeah.
Very busy, but very exciting, and a lot of exciting activities for the rest of the year and next year. And we look forward to new members of the community, anyone who'd be interested in joining us. So please feel free to contact us on the thinkglobalforum.org website. And speaking of contacting us, if anyone has any questions, who can they contact about the awards?
Well, I mean, obviously they can contact me at any time, but there's a contact section on the website. So if you go to thinkglobalforum.org, you can contact us there directly. I suppose one thing that I wanted to mention, Priscillia, is for the forum executives and for members of the Think Global Forum. If you're a member of the Think Global Forum community around the world, there is a community section now on the thinkglobalforum.org website. Now, it is a private community section, as in you have to be a member of the Think Global Forum to get access to it. But there's a lot of conversation then able to take place on a private forum community. So that's been a long time coming, but it's really well received, and we've got growing numbers of people involved in the Think Global Forum community online section. So that's again, you can find all the details for that on the website.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Simon. I have one last question. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience today? Something we wouldn't have covered, or anything else? Any other project or anything?
Well, in terms of the Think Global Forum, I think it's important to state that it's a global community of people that's continuing to grow. I mean, we started quite a number of years ago now. I think the first event we did was in Seattle. And then, as I said, we moved to, I think the next one was San Diego. We did one in Silicon Valley. We did one in Los Angeles. We've been to New York. We've been to lots of different cities to do those. But the community, both offline and online, continues to grow. And we're always looking for people who are interested in becoming part of the Think Global Forum. It does really focus on, I suppose, thought leadership around the world, but not necessarily, what we did in the last 12 months or what's happening now. We try to think a little bit further out, and we really try to tackle some of the more difficult industry questions. And we have, honestly, I think some of the best people in industry involved in the Think Global Forum. The sheer talent and experience of the forum executives is truly outstanding, and I'm very proud of the Think Global Forum community and the members that are involved around the world. And I'm very humbled by that. I think it's a tremendous thing. I suppose the success of it took us a little bit by surprise in the early days, but I'm very glad to be part of it. I'm very glad that it's something that people have really turned to. And, whether it's online, as most of our activities are now, the community continues to grow. It's alive and well. The activities are very well received. And I think the awards are part of that. Having this global awards program now really cements it as a community that's making a difference. So I'm delighted with that. So I suppose that's really what I'd add in terms of the Think Global Forum. There's a number of other things that we're involved in, but I'm sure people can just log on to the website or follow us on social media, and it'll all come out there.
Thank you so much, Simon. No, that's it's really good to know. And for anyone indeed who is interested, please feel free to reach out to us on the thinkglobalforum.org website. So, well, I'm afraid it's already the end of today's show. Thank you so much, Simon, for joining us today. Really helpful to ask you these few questions, and hopefully very helpful to our audience. So anyone who'd be interested in applying to this year's program. And again, Simon is the founder of the Think Global Forum. And so if you have any questions, feel free to contact Simon and the Think Global Forum, Think Global Awards team. And also, please make sure to tune in for our next episode of VistaTalks, where you can listen or watch this episode or the past few episodes, which are we've got about 45 episodes so far. And we'll be discussing obviously more interesting discussions with interesting people from all around the world.
Thank you, Priscillia.
Thanks, Simon. Bye.